Welcome to another edition of Biro Sports Talk, and as of course it's loud today. Very loud. Alright. Sweet, sweet. There we go. We get it? Got it? Good. Alright, so welcome to Biro Sports Talk. As always, I'm your host, Biro, and as I do before every show, I like to go in here, I like to share it. Trying to get some viewers, of course, on Twitch. Trying to grow and grow and grow, man. That's all you can ever ask about all of this. So, let's get out of there. Yes, I know my mobile streaming is on. But as always, how's everybody doing tonight? 313, not bad. But of course, those numbers are always Facebook. Facebook's numbers are always very good. All right, so boom, boom. There we go. Keep it nice and simple, and of course, you gotta do the other most important one. We got to and chat. So there's actually a lot of things to talk about in the sports world, and I can't wait to do it because one thing for certain. Let's first get this. Here we go. Don't know why there's a survey. Whatever. There we go. Get it, got it, good. But now that we're live, let's. And of course, I don't know why this has happened twice in a row now, where I don't have the tablet. I told myself I didn't need it, and I'm trying to figure out why I told myself that. But anyways, let's sit so that we can actually see the nice little Biro Sports Talk. We got Panini up here. But let's talk. So we just filled Biro Sports Talk Fantasy League. This year I think I'm just going to do the one. Nice 10-person league already filled. If there's enough interest, we will definitely do more. Let's get some editing going. Get some tags, of course. You gotta get your hashtags out there. Big news. Leonard Fournette going to the Buccaneers, man. That is a big deal. Right now they're saying that Jones is the starting running back. Fournette has to carve his path. But that remains to be seen. The Patriots tabbed Cam Newton as your starting quarterback. That is also a big deal. The Jags deal Harrison to Browns. Ronnie Harrison, safety. Interesting. You know who hasn't decided their starting quarterback yet? Are the Chicago Bears. Now, what are they looking for? I can't tell you because I really want to know myself. I would like to say Mitch, but, Madden Simulated has Nick Foles leading him to a Super Bowl. Another big name today being released to a free agent, Clinton Dix, did not stay with the Cowboys. The Seahawks did re-sign Josh Gordon. We'll see what type of suspension he has. And of course, you got the Finns trying to trade, I should say. If I can speak words, that's always a problem. There we go. Let's switch this so I'm not looking down at my phone. Maybe I can look ahead and that would be a little better. There we go. There we go. Let's get all situated. Get it all figured out. So I can look at my live feed. Got 2 viewers. Woo! Hoping to get more. Because like always, the goal is to become an affiliate. You got to have a lot of views to become an affiliate. So there you go. So, as we were talking football, we've already picked all who we expect to win each conference. We've done all this. I know a big deal right now for college football. The Pac-12 says getting daily COVID tests is a major step. I know the Big Ten is going to be talking soon about re-establishing, a fall season, which are all big news. So a lot of people are talking about fantasy football, what's going to happen, how you're going to play everything. Let's go over Matthew Perry's 10 lists of 10 because I found this very interesting. So the first list, 10 items of preseason buzz I'm buying. First was Le'Veon Bell. Looks like he's lost a step. He's headed for more reduced workload than people believe. I mean, makes sense. He's getting older. The other part of this is Chris Herndon is a monster target for Sam Darnold. He's getting targeted like crazy. And we should expect him to have an increased workload. The Cardinals, DeAndre Hopkins. I know it's all about a new contract, but he's losing reps right now that he could have with Kyler Murray. Scotty Miller's carving out a nice role for himself for the Bucks. Now, Scotty Miller, don't know much about Scotty. Let's look at Scotty. Looking at Scotty Miller. He's a Bowling Green kid. He'd be a second-year player, it looks like. And towards the end, came on a little bit. He was doing pretty well. Even has a touchdown to his name. He's doing good. Doing good. Next, of course, everyone in Buckeye Nation knows this name. You're looking at the name J.K. Dobbins. And of course, he's going to have a role in the Ravens' backfield. It's kind of big. It's a big deal. Sorry, trying to... There we go. We got it. But here we are looking at J.K. Dobbins. A lot of people are wondering, does he have a role with the Ravens right now? He was a great asset for the Buckeyes, of course. He was a number 1 running back for them. And here we are staring at J.K. Dobbins, man. They think he will be a key component to the Ravens this year. Paris Campbell posts a unleash this year with Phillip Rivers. Next, of course, everyone's saying the Jaguars will have a pass-happy, fantasy-friendly offense. You got DJ Chark, you got Laviska Shenault, and Tyler Eifert. So it'll be interesting how that all turns out. If you want a flyer for someone in the Washington football team's backfield, they say take it on Antonio Gibson. I mean, Geis, as we all know, is gone. Gibson, of course, is a rookie out of Memphis. But you still have Adrian Peterson. You still have some other names in that backfield. So it's interesting that that's one of the things that came up. Sterling Shepard has been doing very well and been undervalued in fantasy drafts. But man, skipping ahead and skipping beyond, what can I say, man? A lot of these guys, you're looking at them. Some names that I find interesting. So these guys are chicken players, is what he says. So here are 10 big name players who I am nervous about this year, either due to injury, the offense, the players around them, their draft position, and other reasons. So some people he advises to stay away from. You got Nick Chubb, Kenyon Drake, DeAndre Swift, Aaron Rodgers, Devin Singletary, Emmanuel Sanders, Cortland Sutton, Devontae Parker, Evan Ingram, and Jared Cook. Now, if I had to look at all these names, I get the Chubb, I get the Drake, and I get the Swift. Maybe don't do them. Drake specifically because he's supposed to be the guy, but he might drop back. If you look at the Browns, Chubb, he's supposed to be splitting with Kareem Hunt. DeAndre Swift, interesting guy. Lions just aren't a running team. Rodgers, and I understand Rodgers. Now, here's the thing. Rodgers is probably not going to be a top 5 guy right now. And it's not necessarily him, it's not necessarily the team around him. They're just trying to run, man. Trying so hard to run. Trying to keep the load off him. But man, does he bring magic whenever he can. Get that nice crisp sound. Devin Singletary, though, man. Whew. I'm a little concerned about him not having more interest. And I've noticed this with some people. People are worried Zach Moss might get touchdowns. They're worried about Josh Allen getting touchdowns. But Singletary can get you yards. Oh, man, that's funny. Sorry, the thing I find funny is in this article it says also worried that Moss is hashtag good at football. Okay. Another interesting piece, Emmanuel Sanders for the Saints. Now, I find him interesting because in the Saints offense, you know who's usually going to be good. You know Michael Thomas is going to get his. You know Alvin Kamara is going to get his. Taysom Hill is going to get his. Jared Cook should get his. But Emmanuel Sanders, he's going to be a off and on hit, more likely. What does that mean? Thanks, Tommy. I appreciate you popping in, man. I really, truly do. But Emmanuel Sanders being the number 2 guy isn't going to see a lot. And I can see why he's an issue. Now, Cortland Sutton's an interesting one. And I'm going to tell you why. He blew up because he was the guy in Denver. Drew Lock liked him. But people are worried Noah Font is going to be healthy. You got Melvin Gordon. You got Jerry Jeudy was really talented. But is he going to be good compared to some of these other receiver twos, receiver ones in some cases? And when you compare Cortland Sutton with the people drafted around him, is he as good as an A.J. Brown? Is he as good as a Calvin Ridley? Is he as good as a Tyler Lockett? What about Robert Woods or Cooper Kupp, man? Like I said, it's interesting to see how he will turn out. Moving right along, of course. Trying to find something different. 10 bold predictions for 2020 fantasy season by Matthew Berry. Just so everyone knows who's the actual source. Matthew Berry. Barry, the article writer, not Perry, the actor. So, let's start with the first things first. His first prediction: Dak Prescott finishes as the number one quarterback in fantasy. He arguably should. You have Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and CeeDee Lamb. He arguably should. Moving on, though, because that was kind of a safe bet type of prediction. Tom Brady has the best statistical year of his career, which means doing better than 07 when he threw for 50 touchdowns and almost 5,000 yards. You know, I'm going to be very blunt with this too. This is probably the best offense surrounding Brady, arguably, of course, ever. He has running backs for days. Not like Patriots didn't have running backs for days, but these are like name guys for days. You got receivers and tight ends for days, man. He has everything he could ever want there. It's just a matter of putting it all together for a win. They're saying Ben Roethlisberger, the number 3 prediction here. They're saying Ben Roethlisberger, being the 16th quarterback drafted on average, will finish as a top 5 quarterback. And again, arguably, he is definitely talented enough to be a top 5 quarterback. 2 years ago, when he was completely healthy, he was a third best quarterback in fantasy. And they're expecting it to be a pass heavy offense. I mean, you have James Conner, you have Jalen Samuels. You have talented running backs, but I get you want to move the ball, unlike last year. Last year was bad. So we'll see. Gardner Minshew. He's being drafted as the 24th quarterback. And he's only being drafted in only 10% of the leagues. And he's finishing the year as a top 12 fantasy quarterback according to Matthew Berry. And I get it. Terrible team. They're going to be passing a lot. They're going to have to. They just got rid of their best running back, so more skill is going to be pushed on him. Jay Gruden, who's the new offensive coordinator for the Jaguars, he's had a top 13 fantasy quarterback in 5 of the 8 full seasons as an offensive coordinator or head coach. I see. So the years he didn't have a top 13 fantasy quarterback, Andy Dalton's rookie year, and 2 years in Washington when he had to use three different quarterbacks, at least. So very cool, man. Very cool. This number 5 pick, of course, got Austin Eckler. He's the 13th running back right now in the third round. They think he's going to be top 3, and arguably should be. The guy came out to ball. I tried to trade him last year. It's the story of I was worried about Melvin Gordon coming back. I knew Melvin Gordon was going to come back and they were going to force him upon us. And I couldn't get rid of Eckler. So I kept Eckler. And boy, was that a payoff in itself. He just balled out. He just did very well. So I do see Eckler getting the nod there in Los Angeles. Got to remember they're the Los Angeles Chargers. 6, you have Marvin Jones Jr. outscores Kenny Galladay. Jones is just better, man. He's a more comfortable target with Stafford. Let's look at this next one. I find this interesting, very interesting. You got Adam Thielen, currently being drafted in the 4th round. Their bold prediction is he's going to be the number 1 guy. He's going to beat Michael Thomas. Now, of course, if he can stay healthy. So for his career, in fantasy even, when targeted at least 9 times, he averages 22.8 fantasy points per game. He's right there with Michael Thomas last year, averaging. Michael Thomas had 23.4, so you're off by about 0.6. Quick math. And here's one I hear this all the time. Everyone's thinking Michael Gallup will outscore Amari Cooper. For sure. And he almost did it last year. He gets more targets, more yards. He gets slightly less catches, even in the end zone. They're very identical, and it could go either way. Gallup is a very good talent, but with CD Lamb, you got to also think, what does that kid bring to the table? Marquise Brown, very talented kid. Very, very talented kid. Helped me out last year with a few games. He's predicting a top 10 finish. Now, I find this hard to agree with only because when it comes to Ravens wide receivers, went from 4 to 1. That's no bueno. But when you're a Ravens receiver, it's very hard, man. So I'm watching it. And man, they just don't target like other teams. They actually do spread it around a lot. Problem is, I want him to succeed very well. I just do. Here's another one I would love to see succeed like they're predicting. So Mike Gesicki for the Dolphins, man. Would love to see him do very well. So if you were on the stream last night, you would know I got a notification. Tom Seaver, Mets baseball great, died yesterday. Granted, he was, I forget how old he was. And the article I'm looking at doesn't say it. But he was number 41, won a World Series with the Mets in 69, I believe. And a lot of people like him. He was just a great pitcher in general. He has 311 wins. I mean, he played for a lot of teams later in his career, but he will always be a Met for a lot of people. But as we're done with football, let's move a little more towards basketball. So right now, playing on TNT, you got the Raptors versus Celtics. Looking at the score, it's 33-28. Celtics. Excuse me. They have been coming out to play this year. They swept the Sixers. Now they're sweeping the Raptors right now. The Raptors are battling to stay alive, essentially. And for a lot of it, you got to look at it. Jason Tatum has been great. Jaylen Brown's been good. Not this game, apparently. But it's very early. It's the second period or quarter. But Kemba Walker has 17. He's balling out right now, which is one reason why they brought him aboard. Kyrie was supposed to be what Kemba's doing right now. But they haven't gone too deep. They haven't really gone to the center. So I look at these lineups, man. They use a 3-point shooting center, which is Thies. I think it's Daniel. Yep, Daniel Thies from Germany. He's he's more of a power forward, but he's called a center. He's 6'8". But on their bench, you have Enes Kanter and Taco Fall. You got 6'10" Enes Kanter. For some reason, I thought he was like 7 foot, though, man. I don't know why he's 6'10". And of course, you got 7'5" Taco Fall. But I don't think they've seen a lot. I mean, you also have Chase Edwards, you have Romeo Langford. You have some talented guys on that Celtics team, man. They are dangerous. But what's amazing, honestly amazing, is the Heat are up 2-0 right now on the Bucks. Like, you look at it, the Heat have never lost a series when they've gone up 2-0. The Bucks has lost every series when they're down 0-2. The Rockets get to play the Lakers. You get the Clippers against the Nuggets. Tonight, you get Clippers and Nuggets, I believe. Yes, at 9. And what about those Nuggets, man? Surviving against the Jazz. And of course, James Harden with the key block in the Thunder Rockets game, man. Not to mention, I saw the game winning free throws with expired time by Jimmy Butler, of all people, for the Heat. It's crazy, man. This bubble basketball, very interesting. Now, I did predict Lakers. I think I did Bucks, of course, and I thought Bucks would have it, of course. Oh. Now I'm starting to have my doubts. But never say never, man. Never say never. Let's see. I know, like I said, there was college football talk. Pac-12 wants these things solved, so like a daily COVID test. Some of these SEC, ACC schools, Big 12 schools are trying to let fans back. But Bill Connolly, let's go ahead and talk about what his 10 random thoughts are. And I agree with this very first statement. This very first statement resonates with this whole college football feel. This moment demanded more than it got from college football's leaders. There's been so much uncertainty, so much just back and forth. What's the right thing to do in football? And there's nothing that's been right, nothing's been wrong besides moving forward with it. Number 2 by Bill Connolly, they think the Big Ten and Pac 12 made the wrong choice. I don't think they're wrong for thinking I don't think postponing was a bad choice. I think not being unison is a bad choice, and that's where it went downhill. No one's going to care that the MAC's not playing. No one's going to care that the Mountain West's not playing. But the Big Ten and the Pac 12, everyone cares. Now, before everyone jumps at me for saying such blasphemy about the MAC conference, let me tell you, I'm a proud OU alum from the MAC conference. I would love to have seen them play. They are supposed to be playing this spring, but again, we don't know what that looks like this year. Yeah, I don't want to talk about 3. It's about messaging. It's going to be a strange season. We already know this. Games are so spread out, so weird. And yeah, here's the thing. When a college football playoff might be wrapping up, the Big Ten and Pac 12 might be starting up. That's what's crazy. It's very interesting what's going to happen. I'm trying to make sure we talk about some good topics, like actual good, solid topics. But this is probably a good one right here. Interesting teams to watch this fall. SMU, Louisiana. Now, this threw me off because I didn't hear they did this for the longest time. I still call them to this day Louisiana Lafayette. But Louisiana University, the Ragin' Cajuns, are going to be an interesting team to watch. Got North Carolina. Western Kentucky is one. Could be interesting. And Central Arkansas, they keep bringing up. Well, they won the first game this year against Austin Peay already. So it'll be interesting to see how they continue moving forward. 10 particularly fun players to watch. You got LSU's Derek Stingley Jr. corner, Derek King of Miami, Sam Howell of UNC, Ellinger of Texas. I think that's a reach, honestly. He's fun to watch, but he's also... I've seen it where he's just self-destruct. I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't want to watch that. But with that being said, as always, we are over the half-hour mark that I aim for this slight talk show. let's go over one more topic, and that's the fact that the Power Five want COVID testing, but they won't disclose the test data. Excuse me. Let's start. Yeah. So we're going to start with the schools that decline to provide athlete testing results to ESPN. In the ACC, you got Duke, Florida State, Miami, UNC, Notre Dame, Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest. Big 12, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, TCU. Big 10, Nebraska, Northwestern, Ohio State, Rutgers. Pac 12, Arizona State, Colorado, Oregon, UCLA, Utah. SEC, pretty much everybody. But just to go down the list, Arkansas, Auburn, Georgia, LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt. So a lot of these schools on this list, so the Arkansas, Colorado, Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Texas A&M, they provided the number of tests given to athletes, but not the number of positive tests. And then Notre Dame and Rutgers directed ESPN to online statements about the number of cases among their students, but those statements only included cases among football players, so not any other students. It'll be interesting, of course. Because you can also see stats among the schools of testing among Power Fives, total positive tests. The most would be 61 by Baylor. I see an 85 by Louisville. I guess they beat them. I mean, Clemson has 51. That's a lot. The most in the Big Ten's Iowa at 36, followed by Michigan at 35. SEC's high, but Kentucky's kind of low. And Pac 12's pretty low all around. So it's an interesting time we live in. I greatly appreciate everyone who's stayed in, checking in. Thank you, Tommy Curse, for just hopping on for a little bit. I greatly appreciate those who are here now. It says we have 4. That's great. I'd love to keep this up where the number of viewers just keep going up. So again, thank you. And I will see you next Thursday, 7 p.m. Same thing. As always, I am the host who knows the most about sports, I like to think, but that's so untrue. I am Biro, because that's what people love to call me. And I'll see you next time on Biro Sports Talk.